This tripod passing is very, very easy to stop if you keep this in mind, okay? So as soon as someone drops their head forward and goes ear to ear with me, I'm already swimming my underhooked arm in, okay? We'll guard their butts naturally on the floor, so the greatest criteria for leg locks is already fulfilled, and now I can attack the ankle lock with not a lot of resistance because he can't get this foot on the floor as it's stuck. So now both of his hands are occupied, right? 2 versus 1. This bottom leg is free to slide in, so you'll see me do this here. So I slide that leg in like so. Hey guys, so this is Max Hanson, and I'll be making this roll review for Fighter's Advice. If you want to see more reviews like this, I have them all over my Patreon. I've got over 80 videos of techniques, match breakdowns, very similar to something that you'll see like this. And usually I don't break down my own rolls, but this was done at a nice little seminar in Battle Arts Academy in Mississauga, Ontario, Canada. So,
do you train combat sports? How's your body holding up? Combat sports are the most physically demanding sports in the world. The weight cutting, the training schedules, there's no off season. Staying on top of your nutrition isn't optional, it's a necessity. Perfect Sports has a host of products that will help you a ton. They have products that promote muscle growth, give you energy, and boost your immune system, among many other benefits. Take your nutrition into your own hands so you can bring your best, most recovered self to train every day. Use code FIGHTERS15 for 15% off your Perfect Sports order.
it's going to be me and the gentleman here, Mr. Omer. Okay, he's a purple belt. He had a lot of good skills, and I felt like we could have a nice little technical back and forth going at a good pace. We're not going too crazy and just trying to have like an ego roll. I felt like it was a nice technical back and forth. So let's go through it, and I'll show you what I was basically thinking throughout the roll. Okay, so right away I'm entering into the split squat, and I'm attempting to pin my partner's wrist to the floor, kind of using an underclass grip. And I'm gonna keep on maintaining pressure by either driving my inside knee to dominate his hip, posting on his far hip as I do this. And as I'm doing this, the whole time I'm always trying to snake my outside knee and dominate that hip as well. So I'm switching my hips back and forth while maintaining this wrist pin here and trying to clear his knee shield. So this is just going to slowly put pressure on my opponent and get them tired. Okay. Now I just want you to notice there's a reason I always release the hand to come down to the foot, because you want to basically prevent a reverse De La Riva hook from making connection onto your hip. If you sit your butt to your heel here, where there's no space between the heel and the butt, they won't be able to pummel this hook back inside, especially with this hand here, and you begin pressuring forward. So in situations like these, I want to start driving my right knee to the mat and keep maintaining pressure as I stay on the feet and look for an opportunity to wrist pin again. So again, driving my weight forward, just slowly cooking my opponent and waiting for an opportunity. So now this is a good opportunity for me. You see I've gotten my knee to the inside hip. I went for that wrist pin again. Now we can continue putting pressure on my opponent without having to use the most energy in the world. So right here I'm kind of going Joseph Chen style by placing the elbow in front inside the thigh. If he opts for a butterfly hook, I'll be able to threaten to the mount as I do here. Right, so I was able to throw my right leg over. We cover Omer's leg, and now we're moving into the mount like so. So if you want to see that again, we can just go back slightly. So you'll see pin, knee dominates the hips, pointed elbow at the thigh, and we can step over the mount without a lot of resistance. Now from here, I'm not trying to maintain the mount a lot because I know I was able to get through fairly easily. So if he uses energy to bridge me off, this is fine, because now I can start collecting feet, flanking, getting my opponent to defend once more. So right here, Omer is able to enter into the legs, and I kind of want a straight up posture. As you see, my back's gonna be very, very straight. I'm gonna try to keep weight onto my foot so that Omer can't just go for heel hooks or put my butt to the floor very easily. So staying on the feet, looking to peel the feet, and just maintaining my base, just making sure my butt doesn't go to the floor. Even when I'm backstepping here, I still want to stay on a knee. If my butt ever does hit the floor, I should be popping up right away. So I'm staying on the feet again, making sure he just can't knock me over, so I'm able to deflect really a lot of his attacks and still maintain a good base. So here I saw my opponent's leg was hanging, and I was able to enter the legs to get the tap. So I honestly think entering the legs from the top is always going to be a better decision, because you see with Omer, when he entered the legs on me, he was basically carrying my weight. I was defending his attacks, right, staying on top. I wasn't using a lot of energy. Well, he was carrying me the whole time. So when you enter the legs from the bottom, that's something you have to keep in mind. It's going to be much more fatiguing from if you enter on the top. So essentially, as soon as this leg came outside, right, I have a knee in between both of my legs here. And so I'm going to snatch up that leg for sure. I'm going to close a circle around my opponent's shin here. I'm going to attack the leg right away, okay? Because I really don't have to use any energy. And once I already enter the legs from the top position, the beauty of it is that their butt's already on the floor, right? Since they pulled guard, their butt's naturally on the floor. So the greatest criteria for leg locks is already fulfilled. And now I can attack the ankle lock with not a lot of resistance because he can't get this foot on the floor as it's stuck in between my tricep and my rib cage. And so I'm going to be able to put a lot of pressure onto my partner's ankle. So you see, even though that Omer came up on this foot, he still can't come up because, again, I'm just making sure he can't turn and put his trapped foot onto the mat. So let's continue. It didn't really mean much. Now we can continue with our match. So we're right back to it, kind of same position, entering into that headquarters. I'm just trying to get nice quick little flanks on my opponent here. He turned both knees away, so it kind of gave up the pass to some back exposure. And now me and Omer are just kind of having fun here. We're just kind of playing this cat-dog truck position. I was kind of really eyeing to get a calf slicer since during the seminar it was all about, we showed a little bit of calf slicers, I believe. Omer defends really well though. And now from here I kind of use the leg lock attempt to stay on the back. Now I had an idea here to go for a claw grip to prevent my opponent from basically like rolling out in either direction. And I wanted to use this isolation of the head and the arm to throw my leg over to get like a topside triangle. But we were a little bit slippery here, and Omer was able to maintain good frames, and I kind of just fall off pitifully as my attack failed. All right, so right here, this is going to be an important sequence. So this is a counter to high tripod passing, okay? So a lot of people are really doing this tripod passing, like the hopping over to mount. You even see me do it, right? That is the hopping to mount thing. I try to avoid putting my head on the floor because I know with really flexible guards, this situation is going to happen, okay? So if you're doing that gent style passing, this is the direct counter to it. I'm telling you, this tripod passing is very, very easy to stop if you keep this in mind, okay? So as soon as someone drops their head forward and goes ear to ear with me, I'm already swimming my underhooked arm in, okay? So Omer did a good job of punching this underhook. However, I'm going to throw this hand inside, and I'm just going to be able to do essentially a steering motion with my elbow towards his head. Why am I doing this? Well, the one counter to the tripod pass is if you get your opponent's head off the floor, okay? So their criteria, they need their head on the floor and your back flat on the mat. So what I like to do, since the weight is light over my legs, I raise my hips off the mat. So you see how far my hips are off the mat. So my back's off the floor. That's one criteria eliminated. And now I need to eliminate the second criteria, and that is a head being posted on the floor. So I can use this inside frame and the action of my hips rocking him forward to just keep extending him in this direction. And he's going to run out of a post. Okay, as you see, he's already at like a 90-degree angle here. So if I just tip his hips and his head even a little bit further, he's going to fall off. I'm going to be able to enter the legs off it. Okay, so Omer was very, very adamant on keeping his head on the mat, that where he's almost going overboard. However, I see this as an opportunity to enter the legs, so I just take my free hand to grip my my partner's legs so that I can enter cross Ashi, right? Because his legs are just floating there, so it's just a battle of leg pummeling to see if he can pass or if I can enter the legs here, and I'm able to catch the knee line right here and enter right in. Okay, so let's just see this sequence again. So he goes for the high tripod passing. I steer the hips and the head off center, and this will always allow me to either enter the legs or simply reset to a neutral position. Thankfully, I was able to enter the legs off this position, which is pretty nice for me. Not so nice for your opponent, right? So anytime you're in a high tripod situation, just steer them towards the side their head is on, and you'll eventually be able to knock them off balance. But it's going to be really important to get that hand inside. So you have to preemptively sense that they're coming forward. So I always just get that little hand in, and now we're good to go here. And get right into the legs. Now we can start going into a more complex attack. So my opponent's knee was turning down. Since it was turning down, I always like to pass my legs outside And so from here, once again, it's a pummeling battle, and I'm able to keep my opponent's foot off the floor like you see here. So he'll never be able to stand up, even though his secondary leg is planted. He still can't fully stand up because you can see the flat of his foot over there, right? You can see the flat of the foot. That just means it's not on the ground. I'm able to kind of hip in and get a tight finish here. Okay, so now we're continuing. Right, and so I'm kind of going for the same thing, looking for the wrist ping, looking to cycle the knee inside, looking to hop over the mount. So Omar had already seen me do this one time, as you guys saw earlier in the match, so he knows it's coming. Now, with any good attack, you need a follow-up. At least 1 or 2 follow-ups, and this is going to put you in a really good place to kind of keep the flow of your offense going. Right, so he's already seen this attack where I've wrist pinned and got my knee inside, and now once I get that elbow post on the knee, I can hop over. But this time Omar, he's going to point his knee out very, very far. Okay, so he's going to point his knee out very, very far so that I can't hop over as easy. But this is going to open space in here. So when this happens, I can just point my knee down and cut across the shin. So as you see, my knee is already inside his knee line, in reference right here. And so I can just point my hips down and go for a traditional knee cut, especially since I'm going to have an underhook here. So as soon as I feel that he defends it well, I cut that knee inside, I collect my underhook, and now I'm just going ear to ear to stop my opponent from getting me off balance. Now Omar's doing a smart thing by keeping his hand inside, kind of like I was, but since I'm opting for a knee cut here, I'm not floating over my opponent, and he won't be able to get hooks inside to elevate my hips down and towards my own head, right? So I'm able to keep my head on the floor, whereas when I was in a similar situation with Omar, I was able to get his head and hips on the floor simply because I opted to elevate instead of turn my knees out or just defend that knee hop, okay? So I'm able to get that knee slice pass. And now I can just sit here for a little bit. I don't have to rush the pass. I can kind of let my opponent make the decision. So he turns. All I do is follow him, right? So I'm not trying to force the movement. I'm kind of just letting him make the decisions. So now whenever you're attacking the back here, so I kind of do this 1-2 punch of a dilemma. My far hook here, I'll threaten, and as soon as you take your hands to block that far hook, I'm just going to take my bottom hook and slide that in. And if that doesn't work, I can go right back to my primary leg, right? So I just go 1-2, 1-2. Thankfully, when I attempted this first one, he blocked, right, with both hands. So now both of his hands are occupied, right? 2 versus 1. This bottom leg is free to slide in. So you'll see me do this here. So I slide that leg in like so. So we'll see the situation again. Right, so Omar's turning. I try to throw the one hook over. And I simply take what he gives me, right? So you should always just be trying to set up your attacks, forcing your opponent between a rock and a hard place. You don't really need to force things, right? If he defends one way, the other way is going to be open, okay? Defend X, go Y, defend Y, go X. You go back and forth until you get what you want. So I would say you should just learn the staple positions for Jiu-Jitsu, right? Like a good passing position, good back attack system, maybe a front headlock system, and some attacks, some guards, and just have 1 to 2 options from all those positions. So really you're just looking at like 2 options between maybe 8 positions. And if you can master that, you're seriously going to be above most purple belts, okay? And 8 positions, 2 attacks each, it really isn't a lot at the end of the day, especially if you have years of training. So now I'm kind of in front headlock. I'm just looking to cycle through attacks. I wanted to shoot for a Darce, but guys, my Darce is terrible. So I lose top position. It's not my best submission, guys. I'm sorry. I tried to be like Rotolo, and I failed epically. So now I'm going to my bread and butter. I'm just trying to get elevations to kind of enter the legs here. So I'm always just trying to prevent my opponent from getting a good chest to chest, using inversions and keeping my knees and elbows tight together. Right, so he's kind of looking for space, and I'm letting him move me around. I'm not trying to really enter anything forcefully. Kind of gives me an underhook, and he hits a nice little back step there. So right away, whenever I feel this, I'm going to start turning away immediately. Okay, I'm not going to play around anymore because my opponent has successfully countered, and now he's looking for a gift rack to attack the back. And not only that, Buddy was going for a triangle. So he has my head and arm, you see, isolated here. He's looking to throw this foot around. And I think he's looking to throw his knee under to hit like a back head and arm triangle, which would be pretty sick. But I'm just able to stay on that foot with my secondary hand. And I'm looking to slip my elbow across the center line to escape this position. So that was a neat little setup from Omer. Really slick stuff. This is kind of why I like rolling the smaller guys. They always have a nice, flashy, technical side to them. Okay, so right here, my partner's reaching for my chest. And so I'm just going to hit that basic Rau Drag. Anytime someone extended from the split squat, you hit that Rau Drag. Far hand on the wrist, right hand on the tricep. We're moving forward. And now we have that underhook. And we can start flanking our opponent. I always kind of like to get a hand on the back or a hand on the back of the head to kind of keep my opponent curled in here to prevent them from wrestling up or going to a front headlock situation. So now I'm stepping around and looking to threaten a Yoko Senkaku. So I've attacked my Kimura. As my partner comes up, I'm just driving my underhook hand to the floor because there's no way he'll be able to get up with one arm against the force of both of mine. So I slip my legs under so we can go to Yoko Senkaku. I'm kind of just playing with the position. I'm seeing if he can escape. Now when I go with the Kimura, honestly I didn't want to rip that really hard. He does a good job of slipping that elbow out, and it's okay, right? You don't have to go full competition speed. Like probably if I was in a competition I had a Kimura like this, I'd be ripping as hard as I could. But this is training, guys. You kind of want to let your opponent, like not opponent even, your partner, just kind of not work per se, but see if they can escape the position. See if you can maintain a static position. Because if you're able to hold them completely in a submission and they can't create any movement, then you know you really, really got it. So if you go at it with competition speed, you're definitely going to get them then. So obviously, my Kimura is a little bit loose, as Omer's able to turn his elbow in and weave his hand out, which is very, very slick by my partner here. So he's looking to weave my wrist inside and enter the legs off it. And now here I have to go to my butt since we were in 50-50. If it was in outside Ashi or cross Ashi, I would maintain a standing base. With 50-50, you can kind of have fun with each other here, okay? So here I'm looking to drop my hips inside and cycle my hands in to split his legs. We're having like a little leg lock shootout. I was hoping he'd retract his leg for an Aoki lock. Now in this position, he gets both legs inside, so I'm kind of looking to stand at this point and clear my own leg. Right here, Omer gets a bear trap. And if he had looked to actually pass this leg across instead of just hugging it, like if he had passed that leg across and weaved his hand under, you can kind of go for that half a Mendez bear trap leg drag sequence that you've seen him do against Cobrina in their first match. Very, very sick. So to prevent this, I'm kind of just keeping my butt on the floor, because if I start to raise his hips, raise my hips, Omer might start reaching for mine, which would be no good for me. So we continue to hand fight, continue to pummel until there's an opportunity for one of us to come up. So right here I'm just throwing a lasso to prevent that chest adjust position. Again, I'm using an arm drag to enter into the legs and snatch him up into cross Ashi. So honestly, that arm drag, once your leg's inside, is going to be like a staple from your guard, especially, I would say, like from blue belt to brown belt, if you're doing these sub-only brackets that are like local and state competition. This arm drag here, so far arm drag to the inside cross Ashi, it's just going to be readily available for you a lot, and you'll find like a high percentage effectiveness with it when you enter the cross Ashi using this elevation. Just very reliable to kind of get an opponent on their toes. So again, he's turning his knee down, so I always look to pass the legs outside. He does a good job splitting and re-attacking. So from here I come on top, and I'm pretty sure this is where the roll ends. Me and my partner just chilling. Alright, so yeah, that's gonna basically be the full breakdown. So we've seen a counter to high tripod passing. We saw that little hop over the mount using wrist pins. And then once you actually have a successful guard pass, this is why you really don't have to force it, because it's going to open up more guard passes. So you see when I went for the knee hop over the mount from the half butterfly, my opponent kept his knee wide, so I was able to knee cut inside. And finally, entering legs is going to be more effective from the top position since your opponent's hips are already on the floor. So it's going to be more efficient when it comes to endurance. As when you're entering from the bottom, you're going to be consistently lifting up your opponent and carrying their weight. And so if you're not successful, it can be detrimental to you later in the match. So yeah, this is just the breakdown between me and this purple belt Omar. We had a nice little roll. It was a fun time. And yeah, if you guys like this kind of video, you can check me out on Instagram, MaxHansonBJJ, or you can look up my Patreon for the full-length breakdowns. I hope you guys have a good one.